Good evening, my friend. Welcome to WW Radio Live. I am Lou Mangello. It is Wednesday night, my favorite night of the week. Thank you so very much for being here. If you are watching live and if you're watching on the replay, please don't forget to join us here every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. You can now watch on Facebook on the WW Radio page or in the Clubhouse or on YouTube at youtube.com/WW Radio. If you're watching here for the very first time, thank you. Welcome. Please let me know where you're watching from, how you found the show, and your favorite snack in Walt Disney World, because I'm famished, which is, again, if it's your first time watching, you'll find out is pretty much par for the course for every single one of the shows. I was hoping to get out into the parks tonight. The day got away from me. I'm spinning a lot of plates, getting ready for what we're going to talk about tonight, which is D23. I still want to call it Expo, so we'll call it Expo just for fun. Getting ready for D23, getting ready for Momentum, getting ready to launch and share a couple other things with you. And but it's okay because it's air conditioned in here, and we can still chat about not just D23, but Country Bears. We can talk about tomorrow being National Dole Whip Day. Because I just remembered I was on a little Dole Whip scavenger hunt yesterday, and anything that you want to chat about. This show is by, for, with, and about you. So thank you very much again for being here. I need to put these on. My TC73 is watching from New Jersey, and I love the fact that you dig cheeseburger spring rolls. I haven't had those. Are they even still there? Like every time I go, the Adventureland cart is either closed or they have something different. It was like pepperoni pizza spring rolls. Bring back, if they're gone, bring back the pizza rolls. Mandy's watching from Jacksonville. Deborah Mickens, nice to see you. Karen St. Pierre, good to see you again. I saw a bunch of you guys on the Nation call last night. We had a really very good, very interesting, very intelligent, in-depth conversation about some of the things we're going to talk about tonight. And I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Kyle is watching all the way from Colombia, all the buñuelos. Listen, Kyle, when you come back, we're gonna go find some buñuelos and have them. It's one of my favorite little snacks I don't get to have very often. Minnie is watching from Vermont. About 10 years ago, I found you by Googling Best Disney Podcast. So 1, thank you. 2, wow, I really appreciate that. And it's nice to know that WW Radio showed up in your search for Best Disney Podcast. And I hope that you still or do feel the same way about it. Amy Cockadera found us from the audio guides of the Magic Kingdom, watching from Virginia Beach, and she loves popcorn. I think popcorn is my favorite snack in Magic Kingdom. And yeah, the audio guides, they're still out there. It's really interesting because if you go to Instagram and go to your Instagram stories and search for things like Adventureland, Frontierland, Toontown, Tomorrowland, a lot of times the first, sometimes only thing that comes up is, which is probably not what you're looking for, but it's my individual tracks from the audio tour. So it's great that some folks find the show that way. Christy Visaki, Jersey. Excuse me, in the house. Speaking of things from Jersey that I love, top 10 things from Jersey that I love and miss. I'm going to make this up as I go along. We'll do top 5 because I can't think of 10. In no particular order. Christy Visaki, pork roll, egg and cheese, the fall, falling leaves, cooler weather, the New York football Giants when they don't stink, good pizza, good bagels, good bread. Oh, I should probably say my family because they still live up in Jersey. All right, well, there's 10. There you go. Why do my top 10 shows take so long? I just did one in like 14 seconds. It's Tim's fault. That's why the top 10s are so long. Christy Visaki, it is good to see you. And that probably would be my list. That's what I need to do. I need to go back. Remember I used to do the top 5 lives? I need to do those again, but we're going to do them like super quick. I won't go through all the graphics. Wait, no, better yet, somebody write this down because I'm just thinking about that's the way my hungry little head thinks. I will do top 5 lives like we'll do it like as a segment, but I'll ask, all right, like suggest your top 5 live. I'll pick one and I will just like answer my top 5 things, whatever they might be. So it could be my top 5 favorite, like food, snacks, movies, cars, whatever it might be. Somebody remind me, I'll make up a graphic and maybe we'll do that tonight. Maybe we'll do that tonight. We'll see. We got a lot of things to talk about tonight. At least I think that we do. Darren watching from Wayne. Watching from Wayne. I swear I speak for a living. Watching from Maine. Deb is watching from windy, rainy Massachusetts. And Heather, I actually talked to, spoiler, I talked to Mike Vargo, who is the head of D23 today. I'm not sure if I'm going to share that. Should I share that interview tomorrow? Or maybe I'll just save it for Monday's show. Because there's one that I want to do tomorrow for somebody who passed. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow for the archive show, and I'll save Mike for Monday. So, but wait, I did remember to put Christy on the list, because that's the whole, I hope I did, and by Christy, I mean the entire family. Zach Brown literally is watching from the bushes in front of my house. Once again, just like last week, Zach, the police should be here pretty quickly. So, Drew Pike, the Dole Whip upside down cake was surprisingly good. I was on a little bit of a Dole Whip scavenger hunt yesterday, which I wasn't able to complete because of the weather. I was not able to get out of the house tonight, and I was able to hit Polynesian, Contemporary, Magic Kingdom. I did not make it to, where else is there? Dole Whips, Animal Kingdom, Epcot, and Disney Springs. And the pineapple upside down cake was the surprise winner, like by far. It was like, it wasn't too sweet, it wasn't too cakey, it was like Goldilocks. It was like just right. It was like right in the middle. I was full and it started raining, and I didn't eat the whole thing, but I could have, and I'm not a sweets guy. So Angela Batista is tuning in from Rhode Island in between trivia rounds. Angela, it is nice to see you. Cheers to you with my Dunkin'. By the way, Angela, I had a good cup of Dunkin'. Like, I think it's the person at the Dunkin' this morning, like, hit it right. I'm going to go back tomorrow just so I can stop at the ATM and bring her a tip, because my Dunkin' was that good today. I'm very, very easy to please. It does not take a lot. Sometimes it's just a good cup of coffee. Mandy B says, I believe I found out when somebody else shared the link. That's why it's so important look, I need to take off my glasses for a fact. It's why it's so important. The way that this community grows organically and authentically and by attracting like-minded people. It's why, knock on wood, like, we don't have knuckleheads in the group, and there's no nonsense, because the way that people come into the group is not because I run ads. It's not because I, like, bait people with something free. It's because you share out the show to people that hopefully you are magnets for people that you want to attract. I don't try and be the biggest show. I don't care about the numbers, but the more that we can grow this community and family with people that we all want to be surrounded by and have this, like, wonderfully, like, familial group and community, that's all that matters. It's why I ask you to help spread the word, because I want you to continue to attract people. It's this ripple effect of goodness that you bring. And I will step off my little soapbox and move on. Amy, I also miss I do miss diners in New Jersey. Like, if somebody, I will not get into the restaurant. Mom, do not let me get into the restaurant business, because I would love to open up a diner down here. Like, how well would that do, especially with all the transplants? But I couldn't do it. Restaurant business is tough. It is tough. Jay Visaki is applauding my list, and I applaud Jay Visaki as well. Let me see. Karen says, my friend Ron shared your show with me 3 times, which is how many times you need to do it, because we need to see something 3 times before we are often convinced to do it, whether it's seeing a commercial 3 times, so even if you shared the show before, please share it again, because it took Karen the 3rd time and then a live show to finally come into the family. And now Karen saw you last night on the Conversation for the Nation. Top 5 Jersey diners. Sherban's Diner in South Plainfield. The TikTok Diner on Route, oh God, I can see it. It's not 9. It's up in North Jersey. Sherban's Diner. Oh, the one on Oak Tree Road. All right, nobody else cares about this list other than me. But Matthew Woolley, I'm with you, brother. Top 5 live parades. Okay, wait, now I'm not ready for this. Wait, maybe we could do this live, but you can also, we'll start a thread in the Clubhouse too, so I can start I can start sort of getting myself ready for it. And so Brad Peterson hasn't joined in a while, but excited to join from the. We talk about the U word being the dark place down the street. The P word, Philadelphia, is the dark, like, especially now. I'm still bitter and sad about Saquon, and I hope he does not do well at all this year. Joe Lego is watching on my basement, doing some work. I may assume you mean in your basement. Randall Jackson's watching. First of all, Randall Jackson sounds like the best like stage name ever. Like not Randy Jackson, like Randall Jackson. Watching with the National Air Force. It sounds like a very Air Force-y name. In Dayton, Ohio, on the way to Gettysburg tomorrow. It is good to see you. Top 5 Walter's World restaurant meals. Can they be multiple meals from the same place? Because there's things at the Boathouse that I would put on twice. I can't start thinking about food right now. I'm famished. All right, let me quickly scroll down. Jason found out your radio searching for Disney videos on YouTube. It was a new Disney animated video about snacks in Epcot. I know. I'm going to resurrect that. It's been something that's been in the works for a long time. I'm actually going to put out a call for some local help in terms of editing video and shooting some video and things like that. So if you're local to Orlando and that's the kind of stuff that you do, I may be reaching out to you, or you could reach out to me. Let me see. I found the Tops Diner. Route 3. I knew it was like a single digit. Route 3 up in whatever, Passaic County, right? Is it Patterson, somewhere around there? Andrew Prince, nice to see you tuning in from Ohio. Chicken or the... Greg Gately says the chicken or the egg diner in LBI. God, I haven't been to LBI in years. Man, I wonder... never mind. Greg, we'll talk about LBI in a separate top 5 D23 wish list items, as if, Drew Pike, you were getting ready to sort of lead us into this week's show. I want to know from you, right? So if you've had a chance to listen to this week's podcast, please let me know in the comments. But I want to hear your predictions and wish lists. Right? I shared a lot of mine. I'll be happy to share a few of the top ones that I think will be coming. But I do want to know, because they're two different things, right? What we predict, what we expect to have happen, right? We know beyond, don't even bother, right? We know beyond Big Thunder. We know Disney's Animal Kingdom. We can almost sort of like scratch those off the boards, unless you have something that you think is going to be the out of left field announcements related to those two. What else are you expecting? And what else are you hoping? Because I think sometimes they overlap and sometimes they don't. And it's okay to dream big, right? I talked about a couple of things that probably won't happen, right? The Muppets are probably not going to retheme Rock and Roller Coaster to the Muppets, but if they do, I said it first. Like, I would love to see it happen, but it's not necessarily something that I'm expecting. But if I throw enough darts out there, one of them has to at least land somewhat close to the target. And then years from now, go, wow, Lou was right. Look at what he predicted. He's like The Simpsons. But so let's see. Eat before you listen. Even after you do, you'll be hungry after a show. It's why I almost went out to the parks tonight. Like, I almost like scrambled out just to get somewhere so I could eat out there. But it just couldn't happen. So what is the possibility? So Dave, this is the recurring question. I think it is a possibility. I think a fifth gate is like Thanos. It is inevitable. Do I think this is the Expo? We're going to call it Expo just for ease of use. It's the incorrect nomenclature, but go with me. I think we will get it at some point. I don't know if now is the time or if now is the best time. I think there are things that have to happen in the parks and resorts first before. You can't build a fifth gate before you build more resorts. There is nowhere to put any extra people that might come. Now it's the other side of the coin. Research would dictate that building a fifth gate does not necessarily mean people are going to extend their vacation, but I do think it means that people will come who maybe hadn't come before or who hadn't come in a long time. The resorts are very near capacity almost all year round, so you do need to build more places for them to stay. If you're Disney, preferably on property, I expect, and we talked about this on the show, I expect a resort to be built, whether it's Reflections or not, in and around the Fort Wilderness area. I expect another one to be built in and around the Disney Springs area, but there is a lot of property still to build on. So the long answer is I think it's coming. I'm not sure if it's coming before other things have to happen first. Tan Man says, my brother introduced me to the podcast years ago, like vegetables organically grown is the best. I agree with you 100%. Vegetables are those things on the side of the plate next to my fried food, correct? Okay. Thank you. There's nobody there, but it's like my imaginary friend. This is like my imaginary Ed McMahon that I look to for who's going to give me the answers that I want anyway, but to give me sort of the reinforcement that I need sometimes. Dan Boyle says it was my friend Vanessa Prince who told us about your show a while back. See, you are a perfect example, Dan Boyle, because I've known Vanessa and Andrew like since ever. I met Dan Boyle through that. I've since met your wife, Christine Boyle. So it has been, this is exactly how it happens. Kyle says, look, I just want the Dreamfinder back. That's it. That's all. I don't think that is outside the realm of possibility. Whether it is the Dreamfinder that we remember from 1983 or the Dreamfinder that some of you might know from the comic books in the 2019, 17, somewhere around there. I think it's closer to the latter than it is the former. I don't think that Dreamfinder is dead. Literally and metaphorically, I don't think that Dreamfinder is dead. I think, imagine that room and the internet itself if Josh D'Amaro stands up there and says, the return of Dreamfinder and Figment. He will forever solidify, like that moment will be forever solidified in Disney history, and the internet will lose its collective marbles in a good way, not the exploding Twitter kind of way. I will forever wish for a Villain's Land at Walt Disney World. Mandy, this is like it makes sense, but I wonder if that is something that they will ever pull the trigger on. I would love to see it in Beyond Big Thunder. I think it makes sense. I think we could sort of all rationalize and justify why that can go there. Whether it does, I don't know. I don't know if they would dedicate an entire land to that. We shall see. Sharon says, Imagination, Dreamfinder, and Wonders of Life. I think Wonders of Life is a definite announcement. You cannot leave that pavilion empty after making announcements of what is supposed to go on it, not once but twice before. So you have to address the somewhat invisible gold-domed elephant in the room, that room being Epcot. Like, I don't think Epcot is, I think all we've seen so far is the completion of phase one of the Epcot renewal, right? I think there is a phase two that we're going to get the first elements of this time. Asher Basher says, I want a new resort that's not DVC. I understand what your intent is with that. Look, there are no resorts really that are exclusively Disney Vacation Club, right? There's a mix of cash rooms and Disney Vacation Club rooms. That being said, like anybody can book a DVC room, right? Becky and I, we talk about this all the time. Like you can call your Mouse Fan Travel Advisor and they can book you a room, even if you are not a Disney Vacation Club member. So I understand why, from a purely financial and membership has its privilege reason to create more DVC. Look, they're huge revenue generators, right? Disney Vacation Club is a huge revenue generator from a business perspective, but it also, any guest can book those rooms at any time, right? Disney Vacation Club members might have earlier access to booking those rooms, but so don't feel like that is any sort of way excluding anybody. So Mr. Fulton Raz says, I'm celebrating my big 25th golden birthday all this week of my big milestone celebration, all of my quarterly century this Sunday. Fulton, happy birthday. If you could have one thing, if you could have one present for your birthday, what would it be? So, let's see. I'd like them to revive the Mary Poppins ride idea. Brian, I think I had no problems with the Mary Poppins attraction when it was announced earlier. I don't know if now, for a variety of reasons, that would go over and be as much of a guest satisfier and a crowd satisfier as it would need to be. I think you need something that's a little bit, and excuse the vernacular, it needs to be, I don't mean this in this way, but it needs to be a little sexier than Mary Poppins, right? And by sexier, I mean it needs to be, there has to be a little bit more of a wow factor, which I don't think Mary Poppins necessarily has to it. You can't see, you can't sort of follow Guardians with Mary Poppins. And I think you can't follow other things that are happening in the industry with a relatively simple Mary Poppins. Let me take that back. You can have it, right? Because you can have some B, C, and D ticket attractions, which a Mary Poppins attractions would be. But man, you better have that E-ticket. Like, there better be something that's going to just be the jaw-dropping announcement. And I hope I'm right. Like, I really hope I'm right. I am wonderfully excited, like happily nervous, because I don't know what to expect. I got nothing out of Vargo today. Not that I expected him to, and I wasn't asking him, but I did like a couple of times just to see if he slipped. But like, the sense that I'm getting is just wait. Like, just wait till the announcements. Like, we're working on let's see what happens. So Dan Collins says, I just need those holy cow moments. I don't want to hear the back of the napkin. I want to know things that are shovels in the dirt ready, whatever they may be. And I think, Dan, you're right. I think after 2022, and even after 2019, 2015, 2017 set those bars high in terms of the announcements we were getting. I think we need to go back to that. Bob Iger, you keep talking about, and you and Josh, turbocharging. Nobody knows what the heck you're talking about. We have no idea what you mean. Pay it off. Pay off turbocharging. Let's see what is on the horizon that you are teasing with this expo. And Greg, again, nighttime parade at Disney World? Absolutely. Not the return of Main Street Electrical Parade? Probably not. I think that's the BCD ticket attraction that will be a nostalgic, sentimental hit, but I don't think, like, that is not the headline, right? The return of this parade, a new nighttime parade, is not going to be the thing that is going to be the headline. Drone show would be nice. Drone show at Magic Kingdom would be nice. It works well, very well, in Disneyland Paris. It is still a huge crowd. Ooh, hi, puberty. It is a huge crowd favorite in Disney Springs, which I haven't even seen yet. Tonight would have been a good night to go do that. It's too late. I promise I'll take you one night, but it's got to be something a little bit more. Will they ever put another attraction in a location where Stitch's Great Escape was? Tony Calic, I think Tomorrowland is on the table in a big way for both Walt Disney World and Disneyland. If I was putting bets down and somebody asked me like the top things I think will be announced, Tomorrowland is up there. Like, top things that will be announced that are not behind Big Thunder and not Disney's Animal Kingdom. I think Tomorrowland has been on the drawing board in Imagineering for a while. And I think this is the year that we finally hear it. Danielle says, I remain devoted to the idea of a Tomorrowland update and a few little sparks of something exciting for Figment. I agree. I don't know, Ash Basher, that there's going to be, I think right now, the Lightning Lane, they need to roll it out before they start making any sort of changes and before they start adapting it to anything else. They need to see what the rollout's going to look like first. Again, when you put sort of bodies in front of it and real people. Mike Scabetta, wow, man, long time, brother. How you been? Uh, so Patricia, when I said when I said Tomorrowland, I think on both coasts. I talked about this on the show. I think it would be a great bookend announcement, right? We're gonna put the marquee up of Tomorrowland. We're not just talking about Walt Disney World. We're talking about Disneyland. There are going to be updates that happen, whether in parallel or something different. But I think both coasts are ripe for a Tomorrowland update. So Matthew, you know what? And this is me. I don't want Cars Land behind Big Thunder. Would it fit there? Would it make sense? Would it be a huge guest attractor? Without a doubt. And I understand, and I will be clear. I understand that I'm very fortunate to have been able to, and in a few weeks, be able to visit again Disneyland. Whereas those who are East Coasters only visit Walt Disney World cannot experience it. But I don't want to see a cookie cutter copy of something that exists somewhere else. I think we have the blessing of size here. There's a lot I want to see something new. And I know that's, maybe we're asking for a lot, but we have 17, as if it's my money. Well, I mean, some of it is. We have $17 billion to play with let's have at it, right? Let's go to town. So, let's see. Curtis finally able to catch a show. For me, believing we'll be seeing what they will say happen. I get it. We want more. We want concrete answers. We want concrete. We don't just want blue sky. And they can't. There is no scenario where Josh tomorrow can walk off the stage without giving us this is what's coming and this is when it's going to happen, and circle these dates and circle these locations on your maps and your calendars. So, Becky Mankin, I think Making of Me, of all the attractions in history that can ever come back, you've got a better chance of Stitch's Supersonic Celebration and Great Escape coming together and being reborn than a remake of The Making of Me. That top 10 reasons why The Making of Me will never, ever come back. And if you ever saw it, it was actually a great show. I would not have wanted to be a parent who had to answer some questions on the way out for my kids. However, I would love to see Luke and Albert in the parks. I'd love to see Luke and Albert in the water somewhere. There were mermaids in Disneyland at one point in the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea sub-lagoon. Real, live, not the Daryl Hannah fake, real mermaids. Were there? Could you imagine having Albert and Luca popping up out of the water somewhere? I know it could never happen, but Amy, I like that idea. This is all of this is in fun, right? All of this is very much in fun. Have them come out in Italy. Oh my God, that would be amazing. Imagine you're walking by Italy and oh look, there's two little mermen. Merman. It was a really bad Zoolander impression. No more blue sky announcements. No more blue sky. I get it. Gary Witt says, how about just the return of Magical Express and resort package delivery? The room would go nuts. I think the latter is probably more likely than the former. I can see resort package because I think resort package delivery was a simple, yes, I understand that there was a cost in doing it in labor and expense, but it's a huge guest satisfier. And it's a revenue generator because when people know, and I think there's awareness that has to happen with that too, when people know that they can go to Frontierland and buy the playset for their kids and not have to carry it back to their room and it'll be delivered there for free, it allows people the freedom and the flexibility to buy something that they would not have bought otherwise. And nobody's standing in Town Square at the end of the fireworks going, hey, we got to run back to Frontierland and get little Johnny the Frontierland playset. So I do think that can and should come back for a variety of reasons. And yes, I know a lot of decisions are driven by finances. This is one that you are able to connect those dots and show that there is an ROI of putting this service back in. It's also a differentiator for Disney, which is some of the things that they need to go back to as well. So I talked to Mike Vargo about this today. Should I tell them what he said? I just want you to listen. I want you to listen to some things will be. Some things will be. That is what I will share, is that some things will be. Let's see. A new fleet of monos. That's so, Jason, that was rumored a number of years ago, that they were going to retire the Mark 7s, and that Bombardier was building, new monorails for Walt Disney World. Who knows, right? But that's interesting. It'll be interesting to see if they do. I'd love to see more Aladdin and Lion King in the park. I think those are easy and doable. I think an Aladdin themed character meal in Morocco, because that Disney Visa Lounge it's an annual pass holder lounge now. That is not a revenue generator. However, an Aladdin themed character restaurant is an absolute revenue generator, and will get people into them back in Morocco who never would have visited there before. Plus, it's easy. The kitchen is there. The facility is there. It's sitting there basically empty, not generating revenue. I think that is something that's it's super, super simple to execute on. So the $17 billion investment in Florida has to bring something cool. I think it has to bring more than something cool, Tim. I think it has to bring something like, we have to sit there, and forgive me for being a broken record, we have got to sit there and look at each other with tears in our eyes, like hugging one another the way we were in 15 and 17. Cool is not going to cut it in 2024. Cool is not going to cut it. It's got to be more than cool. Matthew Woolley of Married to a Disney Addict fame and WW Radio show number 791. Yeah. Oh, it's right there. 791. Magic Kingdom needs to keep the lands based on bigger themes rather than individual properties. I agree. And that's why the Beyond Big Thunder is going to be interesting in terms of how they theme it and how they justify it in that area. It's why the portal to somewhere else makes sense. The new Deadpool attraction in the Wonders of Life Pavilion. Jason, it's funny, but I think that would make... Listen, getting Marvel over here would be like, we're all waiting for it. It's just a matter of what year it's going to happen. I'm not sure that's the pavilion for it, but who's got their Deadpool and Wolverine tickets for next week, right? Is it... Whoa, there's Puberty Part 2. Next week, Deadpool and Wolverine. Who is playing Lady Deadpool? We shall find. Is it Blake Lively? Will it make the Swifties happy if it's Taylor Swift? Top 5 Taylor Swift songs. I could not name 5. There's the Never Ever Ever we will never ever never get back together, never ever. Something like that. That's the only Taylor Swift song that I know. I'm sure I've heard more, but that's the only one that I can think of. Put them with Brickley in Springs. Oh, I was like, put what? You're talking about Luca. Could you imagine, like, somebody walking like, Mom, there's a little boy in the thing, and Mom freaks out, and no, it's just 2 little mermen, mer boys, mer babies, mer people, whatever. Let's see. Any new section for Art of Animation? Amy, I don't think that space can handle another set of double buildings. The infrastructure of the bus system, the hub, even the Skyliner, I don't think can accommodate, even if there's sort of room to build, I don't think it can accommodate those additional guests at that space. Now I want to watch Luca again. Luca's a good background movie, right? Somebody put this in the clubhouse. Or remind me, and I'll do it. What's like your background? What's a good movie to have on in the background while you're like... 95% of my business takes place right here, right? I'm not in the parks as often as I might seem. The other like 3%, if I feel like doing like just email work, sometimes I'll go down, I'll sit on the couch and just put things on in the background. What are some good background movies to watch? There you go. Let's see. Bring back bouleful meals at Port Orleans French Quarter, or name it Tiana's, gumbo, jambalaya, po' boys, barbecue shrimp, beignets, hurricanes, Dan Collins. That is such a good idea. That is such a good idea. I don't know that it'll happen, but a a Tiana themed restaurant was supposed to go at Reflections. So the thought process is there. Like, you're on the same page as Disney. Where will they execute it, and how can they do it? Because something like that will be a huge attractor. I don't think Bonfamille's would be the right space, only because of size. Like, I think you need a space that's going to accommodate a lot of guests, because it would be incredibly attractive to people. So, Scott Fine says 2 words: Rocketeer Renaissance. A trailer for the new film series, aren't they? Scott, those, again, there's so many things that get announced that we just sort of like fade like out of our memory. And we go, didn't they announce like a Rocketeer series? Didn't they announce they were going to be doing all the... We talk about some of the things that I think that were announced like for Disney Plus that are not going to happen. I think there's a couple of series specifically that are definitely not going to happen. But things like the Rocketeer, there was definitely a talk of a reboot. But then again, remember all the Haunted Mansion reboots? There was going to be a Guillermo del Toro, like, scary Haunted Mansion reboot. There was another one that was greenlit supposedly 2 years ago that did not end up being the one that we got. So who knows? Who knows? Let's see. Oops. What about a Skyliner to all of the Walt Disney World parks? I don't think that's something that can happen either, just because I think that the gaps in between, getting a transportation system like that to Disney's Animal Kingdom is hard because it's so far. What is it? Animal Kingdom is what, 400 miles from Magic Kingdom? When you're local, that's what it feels like. It's what, 400 miles from Magic Kingdom? So I don't think a Skyline system, like, God forbid, like, you'd have to have like a number of manned towers along the way. So if you do need to evacuate people in case of storms and hurricanes and light. So I don't know that that's the system that they would do. I think if anything, it would have to be a monorail. But again, you're talking a very, very, very costly system to implement. So Dave Mediera says an e-ticket attraction in World Showcase, many of which, Dave, have been planned over the years. Like, Japan was supposed to have one. Whatever happened to the Wonders of I was going to call it Wonders of Life. Whatever happened to the Wonders of China that was supposed to be redone? I think, man, I would love to see that blue sky vision of a massive expansion of World Showcase. I think it makes sense for crowds. I think it makes sense to build another resort. I think it makes sense for festivals. I think it makes sense for pavilions. I think it makes sense for a ton of reasons. Time will tell. But that is something that I would love, love, love to see. Andrew Tan, I agree with you. Something brand new that is not IP based, and create a new IP just for the parks. Mystic Manor, I'm looking directly at you. It can be done. It can be done very, very, very successfully. And if you don't believe me, let's all go. Becky, we need to go back to Hong Kong. Let's go to Hong Kong, and we will show you. And the food is so good. And the food is so good in How good is the food in Hong Kong? The food is so good in Hong Kong that some of the best food I had in Hong Kong was at the Hong Kong airport. Like, the food was consistently good across the board, and now I want Chinese food. I need to eat before the show. I really. Oh, Shake It Off. Yeah, that's that's a Swiftie song too. So, like, I know. This is my if the day I die and somebody picks up my phone and somehow breaks into it, and they'll look at like my Spotify and be like, is that all he listened to was like 80s music, maybe like some movie soundtracks and like some Disney? Yeah, for the most part, that's it. I'm very much locked in a certain amount of time. So, Joe, Lego, have a good night. Get back to work. Anybody want to do a Storybook Cafe when I'm at D23? There's so many places I want to eat when I come out there, Darby. I've got to figure out the dining schedule. Din Tai Fun is very, very much on the list. I cannot get a reservation at Din Tai Fun. I'm gonna have to see what I can do. I need to try Din Tai Fun. Like, this is a body built on love of dumplings. So, Maureen says we need a new moderate resort. I don't disagree, Maureen. I do not disagree that a new moderate resort would, I think, would fill a number of gaps that I think exist in terms of from a resort perspective. Reflections was, if I'm correct, was supposed to be a deluxe and Disney Vacation Club property, but I do believe, and that's why I think there will be a resort built next to or very near to Disney Springs, possibly on the moderate side. I expect it to also have a convention center component to it. There's a need for more convention space, massive revenue generator, and you need a space for the conventioners to go. It's why Disney Springs, it's why the boardwalk exists, right? It's why it was built for Swan and Dolphin. It was part of that deal, so conventioners had a place to easily go and walk to. I think having a convention resort, like many of the ones that are on Hotel Plaza Boulevard, they're able to dump out into Springs, makes sense as well. More Muppets in Hollywood Studios. Mike Armstrong, did you listen to this week's show? And if so, what do you think about my Muppets idea? I think we need more Muppets. That's what the world needs. That's it. I've just solved all the world's problems. The world just needs more Muppets. Think about how happier we were in the 70s and 80s when there was Muppets on every single week on TV. Coincidence? I think not. More Muppets. That's it. That's how I solved all the world's problem. The world just needs happier, simpler ways to laugh together, and it comes in the form of the Muppets. So there you go. Evan just wants Magical Express back. I don't know. I don't. I would love to see that too, and I think it would be a huge. It would get a huge. And this is maybe where something like looking at the bottom line has to sort of take a bit of a back seat, because it's something that you're giving to guests that simply makes them happy. And I talk about this idea of falling in love, staying in love, falling back into love with the Disney parks. It's a gift, right? Magical Express is a gift. And yes, it of course, there's a financial reason to do it, right? Because it makes people want to stay on property more as opposed to looking off property. But it's something that, hey, look, we hear you. We know it's helpful to you. We know you. So we're going to bring it back, right? In whatever form or fashion that could look like. It's those little gifts, right? That could be, they're not e-ticket attractions, but would create some of those wow moments. Jamie, I've only been to Summer House for, I can't even call it brunch. It was like a couple of light brunch items. I have not been there for a full meal as yet. Have you? And if so, what has been your thought? Keep it real with Dan. I think there is no, I say this every time. I say it every Destination D, every D23 Expo. There is no world we live in where they cannot address the Imagination Pavilion. I will shave Becky's head if they don't announce a journey. If the words Journey into Imagination and Figment do not come out of Josh Tomorrow's mouth, I will shave Becky's head right there on the show floor. Because I just don't see a world that does not happen. So, and Darby, you're right. The Muppet product lately has not been at the level that Muppets was, right? Not just the original Muppets, but even the Jason Segel movie. That doesn't mean that it can't be again. Like, dust off the Muppet Mobile Labs and just let them ride around Epcot again. Like, that was a huge guest satisfier. So, Jim Orhosky says, we need more innocence and corny brought back. Jim, I think that's a great way to say it. Right? Look, that's what Country Bears is. Like, Country Bears is that innocence. It is that corny. It's new songs, but it's the same thing. Right? It's that simple, family-friendly, just have a few laughs for 11 minutes type of fun. it's what these parks were built on. Like, I'm with you, brother. I think that's a great way to put it. Innocence and corny is a really, like, I love corny. It is a good thing. So, Stephen Williams, Magical Express was also great for conventions. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. So there are a lot of ways to justify bringing those back, or bringing some iteration of that back. How about A Nightmare Before Christmas attraction? So Maureen, I think, look, A Nightmare Before Christmas is really interesting because it makes sense to do it in Disneyland, to do an overlay. I don't think it makes sense anywhere to do. I don't think you can have a year-round Nightmare Before Christmas attraction. I think it just doesn't. It doesn't work in April, right? It doesn't work in the middle of the summer. Overlays make sense, but it doesn't make sense in Walt Disney World because the guest that is coming here is different than the guest in Disneyland. The guest in Disneyland is often local. They are return visitors. So you can take down a classic attraction like Haunted Mansion for 3 months to do an overlay that will be open for, 2.5 months, whatever it is, 3 months, whatever the Nightmare Before Christmas time is. You can't do that here in Walt Disney World because the family from Dayton, Ohio, that hasn't been here in 5 years is coming here to see the Haunted Mansion, and they're coming here to see the classic Haunted Mansion. They don't necessarily want, and it's why some overlays like that just can't and won't happen here. And I think I think Nightmare is a little bit too limited time specific for a year-round attraction. Keeping it real with Dan, I think we will get a nighttime parade. I think I think nighttime entertainment is going to be addressed at Expo, not just for Magic Kingdom. I think it's going to be addressed in Disney's Hollywood Studios too. I think Disney's Hollywood Studios needs a nighttime attractor, like I think all the parks do, right? Animal Kingdom had the stuff on the Tree of Life for a while. I wonder if something like that can come back. You can't do drones there. You obviously can't do fireworks there. Is there something that can bring life into that park at night? Maybe, but I think we will. I would be very, very, very surprised if we don't get a nighttime spectacular at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Like, very, very surprised. I don't think you get a new script for Spaceship Earth. I think you get an extensive refurbishment. I think the attraction goes down for an extended period of time and comes back looking very different than it does right now. It is not just a spit and polish, maybe update a narrator type of thing. I think they finally finished the attraction, meaning I always think that the Descent, since the 2007 update, has felt unfinished to me. I think it was supposed to be finished a couple of times, including Project Gemini and including in 2020. I think they finish Spaceship Earth now, but I don't think it's a simple. I don't think it's just a simple narration only. Scott says, I know you mentioned Epcot Hotel in the place of World Showplace and this week's show. Actually, so Scott, it wouldn't be where World Showplace is. World Showplace, I think, could be sort of opened up and you expand World Showcase into a larger, almost a second lagoon. So I think that there should be a almost like an in-park hotel there. There was a rumor of a hotel at the Epcot entrance a few years ago. Take that rumor from whence it came. The sources I had seen, I did not necessarily consider right. So, who knows? Who knows? I did not put a lot of weight into some of the sources that I had seen that talked about. So, but we shall see. Let me just quickly go. Let me see. They should make an inside-out pavilion based on physical and mental health. I mean, can Inside Out justify its own standalone pavilion? Like, can Wonders of Life be the Inside Out, emotional roller coaster? Look, you got the simulator still in there. Can you do a simulator ride through, someone or Riley's emotion? Yeah, you could. I don't know that it can warrant an entire pavilion, but we can think about, you can sort of blue sky Imagineer that yourself and think, what else could you put in there? Because in that pavilion, you've got kitchens, you've got a lot of real estate, you have a lot of square footage on the floor, you have the theater for the Making of Me, you have the Body Wars simulators, you also have like a little bit of space in the back, and you have like meeting space upstairs too. So there could be potentially a lot of room to fill in there, because you can't do it halfway, right? You can't put like one attraction in and the rest of it is sort of kind of not. You need to wow people. There's meat on that bone. I definitely think that there is meat on that bone. Now, a Muppets Haunted Mansion overlay, sign me up. I think the Muppets Haunted Mansion on Disney Plus is the best Muppets thing that they've done in 10 years. Like, it felt like late 70s Muppets to me. There was that little bit of like fun, funny, slightly cutting edge, little bit of a modern twist, but like leaning it. So Matthew, why didn't you say that on the show? You saved it for this. I really like that idea. I don't know. Again, I don't know that it would ever happen here, but I do dig that. So, Amy, we know Dinosaur is going to go, right? We know if you love Dinosaur, Becky, now is the time to go and ride it, because the death knell has sounded and Dinosaur is not long for this world. What I think we're going to get is, if you want to go visit Dinoland, here's the day you need to go, because I think we'll get a closing. We might not get a closing date. Well, we should get a closing date for it. Like, they should let us know so we can start saying goodbye and people start, Save Dinosaur is all of a sudden going to become a thing, just like Save Maelstrom was, even though there's never a line for Dinosaur anywhere. Jen, you can put a Wall-E attraction anywhere to me. Like, put it in Tomorrowland, which would be fantastic. Put it in Epcot. Put it in I love Wall. Oh, my son and I was just talking. I have like a huge Wall-E. Can you see him? Right, he's back there on the shelf. I have this like huge remote control Wall-E. I would love to see that. That's a great idea. A Wall-E attraction. All right, let me catch up here. Let's see. A roller Betsy. Yeah, a roller coaster through emotional maturity could be very interesting. I know Test Track is going to be reimagined, inspired by World of Motion, and keep it real, Dan. This is what we were talking about in terms of leaning into, and I talked to Michael Vargo about this balance of leaning into nostalgia while still having one foot facing forward and moving forward into the future. So, Randall Jackson, I love Muppets Haunted Mansion. A Moana Dark Ride would be so cool. The building could be designed to look like a volcano. Yeah, I know Moana 2 is coming out. We've got the Journey of Water in Epcot. There is something about going to the well too many times, right? How many times are we able to sort of lean into the Moana IP as opposed to looking somewhere else, or, as somebody said earlier, creating unique IP? So this is all part of the fun as we count down and lead up to this event. Very quickly, who is going to be physically at D23, the Ultimate Disney Fan Event, in just, what's the countdown? I don't want to even think about it. 20 some odd days, whatever the number of days is. Who is going to be there? You have to make sure you come by the WW Rodeo Mouse Fan Travel. We have some cool, fun stuff for you to do and to give you when you come. There's a really neat thing that we're going to do in terms of giveaways. It'll be a great place to sort of come, gather, call your home base, and meet other friends. We're going to do pin trading again. There's going to be a pin trading board there. I'll have some swag stuff to give away. And who knows, if they don't announce something for Journey to Imagination, you might get to watch me shave Becky's head. So there's that. There's always, you never know. And the balloon sculpture that we've just confirmed for this year's event is going to be amazing. So let's see who is going. We should do a if somebody could remind me to post this in the clubhouse, sort of a who's going. So we have a bit of a roll call, who's coming. I would love to sort of let's do that. Maybe I'll create like I have to write this down. so many sticky notes. Like a who's going to D23 like group or event, because I'd love to do a WW Radio group photo one day. Let me see. I'm just giving myself extra work, but it's fine. Wait, let me catch you up here. Heather's going, Patricia May is going, Deborah's going, Ray Kastner's going, Andrew Prince and his mom is going to be there. Teresa Licati is going, and she's a first timer. Teresa, you're going to love it. Wear comfy shoes. Becky's yelling at me. Shh. Kevin Shea could just bring spring training back, expansion for ESPN. Yeah, we didn't really touch on that. Some of the things outside the park. Look, that venue is incredibly popular, like with sports and student athletes and things like that. I would love to have spring training come back there again. I think the last time I was at a baseball game was when I took my kids to Yankee spring training on an incredibly hot day. But there's something to be said about going to the ball. And I think for locals, I promise you, if and when they do that, Kevin Shea, if they bring spring training back, we will have a WWRA at the ballpark again, like we had however many years ago. So let's see. I know a lot of folks did not beat the Running Man. It's still a sore subject, I know, for a lot of us who are unable to get tickets. But we're going to try and bring to you, who is at home, as much of the expo and as much of the experience as possible. I will share soon what is coming, but I promise you there will be. So we've done D23 Expo Live in the past. It will be happening again. You will have a place to sort of meet and gather online to talk about the announcements as they're coming out. Just to sort of look into the booth and sort of feel like you're there, but more importantly, have a place to go and communicate with other fans and new and old friends in the clubhouse, right? Live. And we'll do it on Facebook. We'll do it on YouTube. So wherever you like to watch from, you can be part of the conversation, even just sort of like looking into what is happening there. And we'll try and obviously chat with and interact with you as much as possible. I'm sure I'm forgetting all of, I can't even read what I just wrote. All the ideas that I'm supposed to do and all the things I'm supposed to post, if somebody could send me a reminder, because I did not write them down fast enough. But we got a couple of surprises in store. We're going to have a couple of special guests coming by the booth. And look, it's just a matter of being there. Like, I've never left an expo disappointed. I've never left expo, I was going to say, without a smile on my face. But that first one, when I had to ship all those boxes back, I was sad for a little while. But it is such an amazing time. And no matter what is announced, no matter what on our wish list is, met or exceeded or not met, it doesn't matter, because just being there together as a community, this thing that we all belong to and this fandom that we love, is really what it is all about. So I cannot wait for this year's expo. I can't wait to see how right, how wrong we were, and some of those things out of left field that we may or may not get. A couple of quick reminders before we go. Let's go here. A couple of quick reminders before we go. I talk about all these things going on, spinning up in the air. Let me share a couple of those with you. We talk about events. We talk about doing things together. We still have a lot of stuff coming up. Our trip to Japan. I think, Becky, we have one, maybe two, I think it's one spot left for our trip to Japan, and then optional trip to Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea in May. Go to www.radio.com. I promise you, it is the most remarkable experience in your life. Our Adventures by Disney to Disneyland in Hollywood, we added a second date, July 27th through August 1st. I'd love for you to join us. This is a great way to try Adventures by Disney and experience not just the original park, but the Walt Disney Studios, the archives, Imagineering. Jim Henson is you want to talk Muppets? Come to Jim Henson. This is an incredible, incredible experience. And we also have our Adventures by Disney river cruise on the Seine to Paris and Normandy. We're going to do an Adventures by Disney like mini escape to Paris before, and obviously spend a little bit of time in Disneyland Paris afterwards. You can find out about any or all these by visiting the individual pages or going to the events page at www.radio.com/events. We still have a little bit of room left on our Halloween on the High Seas cruise this October. I've got my costumes picked out. I am ready. I cannot wait for this. Becky says we have 2 rooms in Japan, 2 rooms left for the ABD. I am assuming she means the Disneyland one in the summer. And if you can't make this October, we are going to go on the Treasure, which I can't. You want to talk about Haunted Mansion, Jungle Cruise, 20,000 Leagues in February, which is a great time to cruise. It's also our 20th anniversary, so who knows what we can do, and we're going to have planned there. Again, to get a free no obligation quote, you can visit www.com/cruises, and all those quotes and any of your travel plans should be through our friends over at mousefantravel.com. On the other side of what I do, I am not here if it's not for you. I am super grateful for that. I have a couple of things that I want to do for you, to give you, to try and help you take those first or next steps to living the life that you love and doing the thing that you love to do. And sometimes it's just a matter of figuring out what that is and adopting the right mindset. I have a free mindset mastery guide. There's no obligation. There's nothing to buy. I don't try and sell you anything. If you go to loumongello.com/mindset-mastery, you can download that for free. I also just launched my very first course, which will help you go from figuring out that thing that you love, or the thing that you know that you want to do, into literally launching your business in just 5 days. It's only $7. It's an email course that I take you through with worksheets day by day. Just go to loumongello.com. You can find it there. And if you want to really take that next step, we talk about doing things in person. My Momentum Weekend workshop is this September 27th through the 29th. We are more than 50% sold out. I'm going to announce speakers and sessions tomorrow. This is shaping up to be our best momentum yet. This is really where you move the needle towards building your brand, growing your business, monetizing it. There's going to be a lot of talk about ways that you can help monetize this thing that you love. And I am super ecstatic for the speakers and sessions and workshops that we're going to have, and some of the things you're going to do. I promise you, you will leave this weekend in a very different, farther ahead position than you were before. And if you go now, you can still save $100 on your ticket. But you know what? Because I'm like feeling good and I'm feeling hungry, if you want to come to Momentum, email me, lou@www.radio.com. I will send you a special code that I will create just for you. You'll save not 100, but 200. I just thought about this right now. You'll save $200 off your ticket. I will do that I'll keep this offer open until Sunday night, right? So in case you're watching this on replay, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So for 4 days, whatever it is, email me, lou@www.radio.com, if you want to come to Momentum, and I'll create a special $200 off ticket for you. By the way, it's in Walt Disney World. It's at the Hilton, right across from Disney Springs. And Food and Wine Festival is going on, as if you needed any other reason. Plus, it's 50 people, 1 room, 3 days, and I promise you a transformative experience. Is that it? Is that it? I think that's it. I think that's it. No, I must have inadvertently deleted some of my graphics. Well, that's okay. No, there they are. It's fine. I literally am a one-man show over here, in case you can't tell. Anyway, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so very much for being here. Please choose the good, be that positive influence on other people's lives. If you want to find out more about anything else we do, please make sure you be part of the community and conversation over in the clubhouse. And thanks to everybody who is a member of, whoops, that's not working. There you go. Thanks to everybody who was part of the WDW Radio Nation family. I sincerely appreciate you. You really help bring every single episode of the show to life. So until next time, until Expo, and until next week, I love you. Go make somebody's day. And I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but that's all right. Love you. See you.